So is it actually possible to lose 40 pounds in a month? Well, yes, you can. You're not gonna like it though. But here's how I helped my wife actually lose 40 pounds. And I'm gonna show you the step-by-step for how to do the same thing, but as fast as possible. Oh! Every time I sit in this chair. Okay, so I wanna make this as simple as possible. So the bottom line is, first things first, if you're not already, you've gotta be just lifting weights. Trying to build muscle is going to be vital in the fat loss process. Weight loss does ultimately boil down to calories. Now there's a whole lot of nuances in there, but we do have to look at energy balance. So a pound of fat is actually about 3,600 calories. Give or take a few, few calories. So what you gotta do then is, in order to lose 40 pounds in a month, that means we're talking about 10 pounds a week. So how do we get close to that 10 pounds a week? That, if it's 10 pounds of fat, is going to equate to 36,000 calories. So I just want you to think about that. Realistically, I don't think most people get anywhere close to eating 36,000 calories alone in a week. So right there we have an initial problem, but here's how I would go around that. Essentially, if you're gonna be trying to lose 10 pounds a month, if you're gonna be trying to lose 10 pounds a week, a good portion of that's gonna be body fat, some of it's gonna be water weight, and some of it's unfortunately going to be muscle. So what I would essentially do is, let's say you're eating 2,000 calories. You'd have to drop your calories down to probably like the 600-800 calorie range, which is super low, unhealthily low. So now in conjunction with the calorie reduction, what I would also recommend is you just always be drinking water, because water is gonna be your friend to make sure that you feel so that you don't feel as hungry as you would without the water. It's gonna help with your satiety. So now if you ate those calories every day, and you normally need about 2,000 calories to burn, normally you need about 2,000 calories in order to maintain your weight, that would then get you about 2.5 pounds to 3 pounds of fat loss per week. And then you have quite a few pounds lost of just water weight. And then also you'd lose a little muscle as well. And all of that totaled up would get you close to that 10 pounds per week. Now, if you were consistent with that for 4 weeks, you'd then be able to lose close to about 40 pounds in 1 month. However, the only way to be able to do that or even get close to doing it is to really focus on your satiety, like feeling full. And the best way to do that is to eat a bunch of protein, like a lot of protein, and whole foods. But right there, we start to run into our first problem, because on those few of calories, which again is a very unhealthy amount of calories, you're gonna really struggle to eat that amount of protein without going over those calories. And ultimately, eating enough protein is what's going to help maintain your health and ultimately maintain your muscle mass as well. So this is where this actually leads to a massive problem with this methodology of losing weight, because you can do that, but I would never recommend that you do that, because you're going to run into this scenario where once you do that, let's say you actually successfully do it, if you've got the will and the fortitude to be able to stick with that for 4 weeks, which is probably going to be a miserable 4 weeks, I'm just saying. From that point, you may lose the weight, but I promise you're going to gain it all back, and probably more than what you lost. So if you want to lose weight, the fastest way, the actual way to do it is just the right way. It's the only way. And that way is actually doing it sustainably so that you can keep this off forever. Because who wants weight loss short term? You want this for a lifetime so that you don't have to think about this in the future. Because weight loss, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you do have to take this in a relatively slow approach. So now my wife lost 40 pounds. She felt great, she built muscle, and she was not on any sort of crash diet. She just simply took a little bit longer to actually get there, but now can, insanely easily maintain her weight. And she's never gonna have to think about this again. So I would not only argue that you should never do this, I will flat out say you should never try to lose 40 pounds in a month. I'm telling you, instead, I want you to follow what my wife did, and I want to spell out those steps for you right now, because it got her very sustainable results, and results that she's going to keep for a lifetime. So first and foremost, what we did is she built muscle. So again, it starts the same. You want to build muscle, you want to follow a full body program. For instance, you got to start small. My wife, she's a mom of 4, she doesn't have a ton of time, she's homeschooling as well. So she started with just a 2, sometimes 3 day a week full body program. So you're talking, I mean, max, she's working out 2 to 3 hours a week. It was very minimal, but the focus was on progressive overload, trying to challenge her body a little bit more each week. Now, on top of that, we knew that her maintenance calories were somewhere around 2,000, 2,100 calories. So all that we did to start the weight loss was we dropped her down to about 1,800 calories. So ultimately, you're gonna wanna get to the point where probably the ideal fat loss range is somewhere between like 400 to 600 calories, right in there. It's gonna be a very sustainable, very sustainable approach to dropping about a pound a week. And you're gonna have a little water loss with that each week as well. So depending on how overweight you are, you might be dropping more than a pound a week. Now, the best way to hit that calorie target though is simply by eating whole foods. So don't get all crazy on the specifics, but think about things that are single ingredient foods. And the bulk of this for her, and that should be the same for you, is to come from protein. You want to eat about 1 gram per pound of lean body weight. So what's your ideal body weight? If your ideal body weight is, let's say, 130, you want to be eating 130 grams of protein every day. That's going to allow you to build muscle, maintain muscle, and be way more satiated, and you won't feel as hungry. Now, along with this, like I mentioned before, is water. My wife drank a bunch of water, always had water with her. She drank warm tea. Warm tea is great for satiety. And then honestly, she just stuck with this. She just focused on doing this day in, day out. And now here was a nice little secret that might help you with this process, is that every few weeks, I'd actually have her do what's called a refeed day. So she would, ultimately she'd just be eating a few more carbs on those days. She'd bump up her calories closer to the maintenance range. That mentally is gonna make a massive difference for you. It makes it very sustainable. It can actually help with some hunger signals because you have 2 different hormones. There's leptin and ghrelin, and that can actually help those balance out. Studies will show it's probably more temporary than anything, but the mental piece alone is going to be massively helpful. Now, my wife stuck with this day in and day out and saw the results that she wanted, and it was way easier than if she tried to go lose 40 pounds in a month. But if you are cutting calories, but you just feel like you're not actually getting the weight loss, it's very possible that you're actually missing this. So I want you to go over here and watch that video, and as always, go get strong, but first just go give your kids a hug, because frankly, I think family matters way more than even this, and I'll see you over there on the next video.